always pro, and so we grow. Using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And folks, today we're going to have an amazing show. In honor of Women's History Month, guys, we are going to present you with some great information today. We've got what we call class in session today.
Yeah.
So, me and my co-host will be running a class, guys, and you guys are going to love this because we're going to be talking about your favorite subject, which is finance.
You're like, yeah, but it is a reality. But it's actually not fine. It's taxes, guys. We got to talk about taxes.
You're going to talk about your taxes, your money, all that good stuff.
All of that lovely stuff. So that's what we're going to be talking about on what you need to be doing, how you need to be prepared. We're also going to talk to you about. We're going to talk about the 5 mistakes that people make when they're filing their taxes, which is some big stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, I've had clients that have done these things that are on, which is how I came up with these 5, is because it was just disastrous since they did it. So we're going to talk about that. And just closing out, today is the last day of the month for Women's History Month. It's been an exciting month. Some amazing events I've been to. The BBA, the Black Business Association. I went to an event they did last Saturday. Oh my gosh, it was the energy, the vibe was just magnificent. You really had to be there because it was incredible.
I hear that. I spoke with Kelly Redmond. She told me she saw you at that event.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, she loved it.
And we want to give a shout out to Kelly because Kelly is now the president CEO of African American Board Leadership. Is that what it is?
Yeah, AABLI, right?
Yes, that's it. Yeah, so she's now the president. I gave her a great big hug, and then she had an event last week that was just tremendous, and she was so honored. They were, I guess, installing her, and I knew the founder of. I went to church with the founder of that organization, so she was a really amazing organization.
So much love and respect to Kelly Redmond, the new president CEO of the African American. What is it? African American Board.
African Board, a leadership board.
Leadership Board. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she's doing great work. I've known Kelly Redmond for a while, and she's been always a stand-up person. So, I know she's going to do well over there. So, guys, if you've never been a part of that board, you want to go check it out and see what it's all about. It's an amazing board. And in honor of Women's History Month, guys, give her flowers, give her props, give her support. She needs that.
Yeah, I told her she finally found her home. I've known Kelly for 20 years, and when I first met her, Rhonda Hobart and I were doing a leadership. We did a mastermind group at the Urban League, at the Los Angeles Urban League, and she was under Rhonda's group, and then I had Rhonda Jackson in my group. Yes. And so, that was like 20 years ago. So Rhonda had just kind of came into the scene with her interior design. She had just been honored in a magazine. Just to see where these women are today is just phenomenal. That's all I can say. It's just phenomenal.
I love it.
Yeah. So that was it. So definitely she deserves her flowers because she's found her home. She's been trying to figure out where that was, and I think she's finally found it. So that's a good thing.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, man.
Yeah, so it's been a good. The Women's History Month was good. Women are just doing their thing.
Mhm.
There's some powerhouses out there, and uh, women energy is good energy, especially in this very dominant male, in some cases, toxic political world that we're in.
I hear you, co-host. I hear you, man.
Yeah. So,
Something crazy is going on, so we just got to keep focused and make the main thing, and don't
hmm
get sidetracked by all these distractions out there.
so how was your week?
Oh man, my week was crazy, co-host. I think it was Monday. I installed this new air conditioning unit. I had it installed by some little sketchy technician. They have a company up in the valley there. I'm gonna put a shout out to them. They're called
Okay.
SoCal Climate Control.
Uh-oh.
These guys are sketchy, and
Uh-oh.
I want them to sue me for libel, so I can really I can do a cross complaint and sue them back for damages, man. They installed my unit,
Mm-hmm.
did a shoddy job, and water was leaking through my ceiling, my unit when it rained. Then the next thing the heater unit didn't work for about 9 months. I have to keep calling them, acting like I'm begging them to do their job. And then after they finally figured that out, which took them about 4 months to figure it
Mm-hmm.
out,
Mm-hmm.
then all of a sudden I see some black debris and dirt coming out of my vents, my air conditioning vents. Every time you turn it on, those black debris come blowing out. Then I start breathing it in. Next thing I know, my nostrils start burning, they start bleeding, and I get headache,
No.
sniffles, and all of that stuff. So I had to go to the doctors, and the doctor trying to figure out what the problem is. I've got chest congestion, all of that stuff, man. So next week I gotta go do my chest X-rays, and you know it was crazy, man.
Oh, that's some serious stuff going on.
Serious stuff, man. Serious stuff. So my plan is to go to the city and have them come in, have their environmental people come in and do a test on those black debris. Because as we speak right now, there's still black debris in my vents, man. You know,
Oh.
yeah. So I'm gonna have them come in and test it to see if it's mold or what the contamination is. Because if they install the unit, they should have vacuumed it out and make sure everything was good. Since they're up there knocking and making noise, you see what I'm saying?
Right. Well, definitely you're making sure that the filters were cleaned out so that it didn't
Exactly.
blow it into your place.
Exactly. They didn't do any of that. So I'm gonna have the city test it first, and then after that, man, I'm probably gonna take legal action because I'm telling you, I was sick from Sunday until yesterday.
Oh, well, that's not good at all. Not especially stuff that you're breathing in.
Yes,
That's horrific.
my nostrils were just bleeding every time I blow my nose. There's blood and headaches,
Oh.
nausea, vomiting, all of that
Oh
stuff.
wow.
It
That
was
sounds like some fibers that were coming in that was, harming your nose.
Yeah. So that was my crazy week. I had RFPs I had to respond to, and I couldn't because I was so sick. You know, I,
Mm.
I had to postpone a lot of my meetings until next week. So yeah, it
So
wasn't.
did they so wow, okay. Did they come back and
No, no, they're ignoring me. They're not responding to my call. That's another reason why I'm taking action. And I'm gonna file a complaint with the California Licenses Board. You know, so we'll
wow.
see. We'll see,
Well,
man.
yeah, that's not kosher at all, actually.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And to think that I reach out to them as entrepreneur to entrepreneur, because since they run their business, they claim they have about 20 something or 30 something employees. So
Mhm.
they're a small business, but they're probably making about 10 mil a year, something like that.
Okay.
So I figure, entrepreneur to entrepreneur, I call the owner and then we talk about it and try to resolve it amicably. But he
Mm.
doesn't return my call, doesn't talk to me, and then he's sending email, talking smack in the email. So I'm going, he doesn't know who's he's playing with. He's playing with a
Yeah, that's not
small
cool.
business paramedic here.
Well, that's because, and it's got to be. I mean, the customer service is the.
Exit
I don't care what kind of business you are in. Customer service has to be in place.
number one.
That's one thing. That's the only thing I look for. If I'm not getting customer service, I don't even know why I'm doing business with you. I don't do business with folks that I don't get customer service with.
Yeah, these guys are horrible. That's SoCal Climate Control. That's them. They're up in Calabasas and Chatsworth, and they got 3 locations. Those guys, they're sketchy, very sketchy,
Wow. Well,
very sketchy. So I
I'm
want to.
sorry to hear that. So they still got to come out and do some stuff and make
They're
sure
not
that
coming. That's what I'm
they're
saying.
not coming.
They don't want to come. So that's why I'm going to go to the city, have the city test those black debris that's coming out of the vents from my air conditioning duct and see how contaminated those black debris is, because if it's causing my nose to bleed and give me headache, nausea, all of that, then it must be serious. You
Yeah,
know.
that's not good at all.
Yeah.
That's really bad actually.
So
Wow.
so
Did you
that's
turn? So don't turn the air conditioning on. Then leave that off. So
the thing is I can't do without not turning it on
air.
because it gets hot here. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
I try to use a fan, I try to use whatever, but it doesn't work. So it's like I'm in a situation where I have to use the device, but the device is not functional. So it's making
Wow.
me sick more and more every day, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's not good at all. Sorry to hear that. Well,
Yeah,
um, I know you know how to handle it though.
for sure, for sure. I'm gonna reach out to the city and the county, man. We're gonna make them, responsible for what's going
Okay. Wow. Well, my week was it was kind of busy. I can't even remember what all I did, but I know I was tired. I did go on Saturday to the BBA's Salute to Women. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
how was that? How was that?
Oh, it was incredible. Sarah, Sarah is the president of the BBA, the Black Business Association. It was phenomenal. The energy, you would have loved it, Gilbert. The energy in that room from all of the women that were there, and you knew, pretty much all of them. Rhonda Jackson was there, Deborah Hunter was there. Um, uh, you know, Edison was in the house. I met some. I sat at the table for SoCal Gas. They have some new people over there.
Hmm.
But it was just the energy from the minute you walked in the room.
Yeah.
They had Morris Media there doing broadcasting. Layla. Yeah,
Oh,
she was interviewing. She did a podcast there.
oh,
Um, and so she was interviewing the honorees, and the honorees were Bianca Vovecki. She was nominated.
yeah.
Roz Pendleton. She actually won the BBA award. Some other amazing women. I don't even have my list over here with me, but it was phenomenal. The energy, I mean, it was like the black women, the women are in the house and they are taking names, and it was just awesome. But it was from 8, it was from 9, it was breakfast. They had a panelist. They have the young lady, her name is Arlen. Let me get her name correct because she actually have invited us all to this event that she's doing. Let me get her name because I just got an invite myself. Let me see. Came from Ty this morning. Um, but this lady, her name is Arlen Hutchington, I think is what her name is. But years ago, when she started her business, she went looking for funding, and she couldn't get funding because she was black, and
Hmm.
a woman, and she was gay,
Oh,
and so consequently that didn't all go over well, and so she took it upon herself, and she actually went out and started her own equity fund.
Yeah.
And so she has found funding for over 200,000 women,
Mm.
and she has a podcast. I think it's called. Let me see. I just got an email on it this morning. Let me see if I can find it. But she has a podcast as well. Her name is Arlen Hamilton, and she's got a book out called Your First Million.
Mm-hmm.
Your first million, and so she is gonna be at an event that's down at the convention center, at not the convention, at the crypto center, and it's a live event. I actually get a +1, so if you're interested in coming,
When
because
when is the event? When? Which
I
day?
think it's April. It's a 3-day event, but I'm probably only going to go to one. But it's April 9th through the 11th.
9 to the 11th. Okay,
Yeah, when I get all the details, as soon as we get the invite, then I will let you know all about it.
that sounds workable.
Yeah, but it was impressive. They had a morning panel with her. She was on the panel. Who else was on the panel?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Delphine Pruitt from U.S. Bank, and they were and it was somewhere where they had the lady that runs the U.S. Mint. She was giving away as prizes, door prizes when you raffle ties, um, gold coins, silver coins. She's at the U.S. Mint. She heads up the U.S. Mint,
Mm-hmm.
and so Rosalind got an Obama gold coin,
Oh wow,
and Bianca Voecki, she got a bronze coin
that's cool.
and a Harriet Tubman silver coin.
That is cool, man.
Hmm.
The dudes don't do that for each other, man. Man, they don't think of us. They don't recognize. While the sisters are out there giving the other sisters their flowers. See that?
So we're going. So she's having this conference at crypto, and it's Your First Million 2024, the Ultimate Entrepreneur Conference. And so she's got some major hitters there. Issa Rae is going to be there. Um, Janelle James is going to be there. All of these individuals that have just been doing some major things for her. She's the founder of an organization called Backstage Capital.
Mm.
And she started that organization. She has a book out as well. The books went so fast I couldn't even get one. But she's bringing together some of the most influential and innovative entrepreneurs from across the country and the globe to Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's
And so
great.
we're trying to bring some. Urban League wants us to bring some students, but I already got a free ticket
Mm-hmm.
because I got it for participating, for being there at the Black Women's, because she just handed she wanted everybody in the room to get a ticket. So it was pretty amazing. That's all I can say. We had a fantastic time.
Kudos to them for the insight and the ingenious approach to making that event reality and helping others, man. Kudos.
Yeah, so that was what we did. That was what my Saturday was. Came home because I'm not used to wearing heels these days because I'm always in flats and tennis shoes. Oh my God, my feet just like they were done for.
How,
What
how long?
one bit just laid me out for the whole weekend.
How long before you start feeling that? Like after an hour or two?
Oh, I from the moment because it was at the Sheraton at the airport, Sheraton at the airport.
Yeah.
And so by the time I got there, and it was raining last Saturday, so everybody valeted. And so when I went to valet, it was all it couldn't get to the valet, right? So I had to park in the back and walk. And woof, from the minute I got into place, and I don't know if you've been to the Sheraton at the airport. So the rooms are in the back, and
Yeah.
then some of the rooms are in the back corner, and
Yeah.
then other rooms are, but all of the vendors and everything was out in the front. So Rhonda Jackson had a vending booth. Laura, Laura with the cookies, she had a
Oh,
vending booth.
yes.
Yeah, everybody was like, it was the place to be. So next year, definitely you need to be there because it was the place
Sure,
to
for
be.
sure, for sure.
Yeah, so it was awesome. You would have been in a house full of women, and
A house full of my favorite types of clients.
yeah, and probably a great deal of them were your clients.
Yeah, exactly. So what we could do then is probably team up with them because that you remember we talked about that women's summit last week on the show.
Uh huh.
Probably team up with them and try to plan and coordinate that women's summit. And
Yeah, the BBA always does. They have four signature events, and one of those signature events they have is Salute the Women. That's during Mother's Day weekend,
right,
and then I think they do another one for music, and there's two others. I can't remember what they are, but yeah, there's a number of them, and it just depends on what we want to do with that summit. So yeah,
yeah.
yeah, there's a number of them. But then yeah, that was my week. So pretty much, I was recovering from Saturday.
Hey man, I knew it was tax season and I knew you had to do that event. So I said, man, I'm not even gonna call her and bother her. I'm gonna leave her to do her own thing and recover in her own time.
Yeah. Well, this interesting enough, my clients tax wise, they've gotten it together early on. I am just my regular ones, my clients that I've had over the years, they I don't know what happened. I guess it's from the result of the pandemic.
Yeah,
They jumped on it, and some of them had already filed their taxes like in February, but others I did do a workshop last week on taxes, and I did a workshop this week with um, Vermont Slauson for taxes, and then I think I did one for the Urban League on taxes a couple weeks ago. But yeah, these people seem to be on point right now. I'm very proud of them that they've taken this part of their business serious, and really is just the finances, right? Just understanding the whole concept of how your business make money.
yeah. That is good though. At least, you're trying to help them to understand that because no one really helps, minority entrepreneur understand those types of things, that aspect of the business. So, and that's a big reason why many of them fail because they have no structural guidance when it comes to managing the finance, making it work, stretching it, being creative with it, until they hit a roadblock or hit a wall. So yeah, just keep on doing what you do, man.
Yeah.
They,
So it was
they say everyone has a purpose in life, right?
yes.
That's your
Uh-huh.
that's your purpose right there. Your
Yeah,
purpose.
I agree. I agree with that. It's and I have and as somebody said when I did this, and we're gonna kind of today, guys, we're gonna just do some of what I do for that workshop, just going over what that whole process looks like. A lot of people are confused when it comes to that, and a lot of people, they do their taxes with apprehension,
Yeah,
and one of the things I talk to students about all the time is, or my clients all the time is, you when you do your taxes, it's part of your strategy because if you're looking for funding down the line, you have to make sure that your taxes show that you have made some money
yeah.
because that's what they're going. Those are some of the documents that they're going to utilize.
Good, good, good.
Mhm.
It's very
Yeah.
good.
Mhm. So
Sound like you had a good week there, co-host.
it was a busy week. I was a little tired today, but I was teaching and teaching mostly all this week, and then of course I had a number of coaching clients.
See, when you work hard like this, I know you got a big, long vacation coming up. So
You know that,
your
but
vacation usually run 2 to 3 weeks, maybe a little longer. So
it's coming. Actually, it's gonna come out. It's gonna come
in,
out
in May,
October. I'm going to my nephew's graduation in let me
Because
see,
May is your birth
May.
month, right?
Yeah, May is my birth month, but we're going to his graduation, and we're gonna leave on the 31st of May and be there for June 1st and 2nd. We're
There
coming back on second just for the
you
weekend.
go. I knew it was coming up.
Yeah, it's coming, and then but I got the kids. Biz camp is coming, so
Yeah.
we start biz camp June 10th. So June 10th for 3 weeks, and then we have a week break, and then we come back for July 8th, and then that's 3 weeks. So that's heavy duty, man. When my June and July's are heavy duty, and then I'm gonna go back to Egypt in October.
Yeah, I'm gonna be expecting my usual dutiful call from Miss Rhonda there to help out with the biz camp.
Well,
And
of course.
she called me religiously every year. She said, "Can you do the entrepreneurial piece? Can you teach them how to start the business?" I say, "Sure." It's always a pleasure for me to help you guys out with those young kids, man, because they're our future and they need guidance. We never had that much guidance when it comes to entrepreneurship growing up. So I just want to make sure I do my part in helping those young entrepreneurs, man, so they don't go astray. I don't want them to be when they become of age like 22, 24, 25, to be saddled and burdened with student loans, like I did. you know
Yeah.
so if they can do the entrepreneurship thing, man, that's what I want to
I know yesterday I did Da Vinci, which is the school where we do the classes.
do.
It's in El Segundo, and so they invited us out. They were having a trade fair for the kids, a
Hmm.
job trade fair for the kids. And so the Urban League was invited, and so I came out to talk to them about Biz Camp, since that's where we host Biz Camp. And I just met some of the most amazing kids. I had one child as soon as I came in, and I came in kind of late because I had I had a, what did I have yesterday? Oh, I had the community briefing, so I had to come after the community briefing.
Right.
So as soon as I got there, this young lady came up to me, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're Miss Christo," and I went, "Yes," and she says, "I was in your class, in your biz camp class, when I was," and she's a teenager now. When I was 10, I went, "Whoa!"
Oh
and
man, it came
so
around full circle, huh?
it came around full circle. But some really incredible kids that are interested in starting and being entrepreneurs. So we should have a really good a number of them coming from Da Vinci.
Yeah.
They were anxious and eager to sign up, from real estate to clothing making to uh, making a medical device. I mean, they already had some great ideas, and they haven't even gotten to the class yet. So that was really cool.
That's
Um,
amazing.
so they had their kids come in from all of it's like four different campuses. So their kids came in different times, and then right next to me was the one of the cosmetology schools, and so the girls are very interested in learning how to do hair and makeup and nails and stuff, right? So I was standing right next to her. So as she was telling them about the cosmetology piece and what it costs in the school, and they could get licensed at 17, then I was like, and now you just need to come right on over here, because you have to have a business when you're a stylist, and it needs to be a good business structure. And they were like, "Oh yeah, that's where I need to be." So like, catch them when they're early.
I get you, man. I get you.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
All right, that
Yeah,
sounds good. So it
so that
sounds
was.
like you got your plan in order and your order well planned.
Yeah, yeah. Plan and order well planned. So we should. I don't know. We do 35 kids. We try to do 65 kids over the summer. That's
Yeah,
that's generally the plan, and we can fit about 35 kids in the classrooms.
right.
And so we'll be back at Da Vinci this year, and
Yeah.
so we're really excited about it and see how many kids. And I have people who have been calling me for months When is the registration open? So we already got people signing up,
I
and
wish the program had more flexibility, because then you could do like a video promo like I did with Small Biz Pro, that promo.
mhm,
You could
mhm.
do something like that and say, hey, are you a youth entrepreneur thinking of starting a business, not quite sure what to do? Well, we've got the solution for that. We've got our BizCam program starting up in July, something like that, and just put it on the internet or whatever, man. I'm telling you, man, that will get massive amount of views. And
Yeah, well, we're not quite. It's only me and Miss Rhonda, so we can't have massive kids. We can only service 65 kids, and that's 30 kids in each class for the 2 months. And
right,
trust me, they're teenagers,
yeah,
and by the time um
they got
by
you.
the time August comes, I'm exhausted.
They they talk about Occupy Wall Street. This is Occupy the Urban League.
Woo. Yeah, it's exhausting. Kids are, because they're eager and it's fun. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but you still got personalities,
Yeah,
35 personalities. So,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that's good.
yeah,
You
but we're
guys are doing
excited.
a great job over there, man.
Yeah, so vacation will be in October. I will be going back to Egypt to see the grandbaby and again. So, but we should be getting her. I gotta get her all her paperwork in by the 22nd of April, so we can get the baby's passport, and then maybe they can come visit me the next year.
That's
We'll
good.
see.
That's good. Well, keep up the good work, man. Keep it
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Keep it up. You know,
Yep, yep,
nobody,
yep.
nobody else does it better than you.
Oh, here's what I wanted to tell you. So on last Friday when we were talking to Andrea, and
Yeah.
we were telling her we wanted to introduce her to Theodora and
Yes, yes, yes,
Bianca.
yes.
So the both of them were there.
Oh, Bianca and the Theodora?
Uh-huh. And I was like, okay, you guys, I have to. And they were like, really? So they're excited to meet her.
Good,
Robin wasn't there because Robin Thorne wasn't there. She was the other one.
good.
But they were, Bianca's like, really? Okay, I'm really interested. So,
Oh, man.
and
That would be a powerhouse if those four women could get together and do a
would
project.
that not be?
Oh, man. I would love for us to be a part of something like that. I would love it, man. Think about it, man. Four strong women running a project.
In
Wow.
the construction industry, each of them are in different spaces,
Yes.
but it was definitely a compliment of each one of them, and if they could, if their personalities mesh, and I think their personalities do,
Yeah.
um, it would be pretty incredible.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, it was.
Well,
It was.
with that being said, I guess it's time to make a transition into our tax preparation season activities here for our entrepreneurs.
I'd say so. All righty. So, guys, as we know, tax season is right around the corner. Probably more around the corner than you would like it to be.
Outside on your doorstep.
Yes, it's right on the doorstep, and so we want you to be ready for that. So, um, we're going to be talking about the deadlines are coming up. Actually, if you are an S corp, your deadline already has passed. So I really hope you had filed an extension, but your deadline was March 15th. So we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit as well. So we're just going to give you some overview. Um, I have the presentation up here so that we can, let's see, we're going to kick it off, Gilbert. We won't go through all of the slides, but we're just going to talk today about the understanding the tax part and the accounting part of maintaining your taxes. This is that time of the year when everyone should be actually. Hey, Fernando. Everything should be already together. So this should just be go and check and make sure
Right,
because
right.
we literally are 10 days out.
Exactly.
We 10 days out or May 15th. Filing day is April 15th. So, and if you're in Maine or Massachusetts, if you guys are watching us from the East Coast, then your filing day is April 17th. But everybody else, all the other states, your taxes are due on the 15th. So hopefully you have gotten it together and you are all ready. Okay, so let's get going, Mr. Gilbert.
Let's get started.
All righty. So first thing up, well, we skip that part because y'all don't need to know that. And let me go. I'm gonna actually skip through the risk. I don't think we need. Do we need to talk about that?
Yeah, well, they need to know it because sometimes even though they know it, they skip over it, and it's very important to their business because that could be attached to their liability exposure. So yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go back. So I think, and the reason I put this in in when I did this presentation for a number of the organizations is because Gilbert is absolutely right. A lot of times we as business owners think that, first of all, we don't always recognize our business as real businesses. That's the first thing I
Right.
think.
That's true.
Is that not true?
That is
So risk management is part of doing business, right? And you have to prevent and mitigate against any risk that's going to possibly create a problem for you where you're sued or there are any liability issues that you would be responsible for. So with that, you want to make sure that you do have the necessary protection for your company. So there's two types of risk: internal and external, and you want to make sure that you have your protections. So that internal is anything to do with injuries and dishonesty and labor and theft and misbehavior from your employees. This is a big one, and Gilbert, you can probably talk on this one because you're all about structure and compliance.
oh
Poor internal organization structure. You got some comments about that or some tips?
Oh yeah, well, definitely, guys, and this is where your SWOT analysis comes in, guys. The SWOT analysis is so critical to your operation. I know a lot of entrepreneurs don't think, we don't need a SWOT. Yeah, I did it in college or high school. I don't need to know. You need to check out your SWOT pretty much every week and see if you're on point because so your SWOT analysis, which is strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, is tied a lot to your liability, your exposure to risk. And that's where the threat part of the SWOT comes in. The SWOT, the SWOT, the threat. So when we're looking at risk and damages, guys, you can obtain that. That could occur from, property damage. You have your employee damaging your property, or they cause you harm by saying bad things about your organization to other people outside of your organization, like your competition. So they may take internal information from the company, whether it's data, hard copy documents or something, information about salary, or if you're bidding on a project and they know your bid price, let's say they know what your labor rate is, they can share that with the competition, and then the competition could underbid you on a project. There you go, you lose that. So that's an internal risk that could affect you. And a lot of people probably don't think about that, co-host. They're thinking, that's not a big deal, but it is a big deal because
Mm-hmm.
if you're bidding on a $2 million contract and that occurred, and then your competition wins the contract, then now that's $2 million that you don't have, which you could use to grow the business. So these are things that you want to think about, guys. As far as accidents, accidents are also things that you want to prevent in your organization, because accident and injury, what that does, it drives up your workers' comp insurance. When you drive up your workers' comp insurance that way, then it's going to cost you more on a monthly basis for that insurance. When you bid, you do your bid price, you got to include that insurance price in it, which might be too high to the owner of the solicitation, and they may not want to pick you. They may want to pick your competition. So there's so many things to do with this. Now, taxes, again, when you run an organization, and if you're going to have W-2 employees, you definitely, that there's tax liabilities that you got to pay on those W-2 employees. For example, here in California, you got to pay into the unemployment fund, and that's where you pay 7.5% from the employer, and that's matched with another 7.5% that the company has to pay to the EDD fund. So now that's 15%. So when you get laid off, you can obtain unemployment insurance. So all of these things, guys, they tie into the risk factor and the tax factor of the organization, which is very important for you as an entrepreneur to know. Now, some of you may say, well, I don't really hire W-2 employees. I hire independent consultants. Well, that's another animal that you want to think about, because now you're talking about that AB5 rule that was just passed by the state. That's another situation that could harm you as well, because now they're telling you, the state is telling you that certain types of uh, help that you use cannot be classified as independent contractor unless they have their own business license, they have their own business. And if you're going to just pay them from within the business, you got to hire them as a W-2 employee. So again, that's another stress on your budget, on the revenues there. So
Right, exactly. And now, and AB5 is definitely an issue in the state of California. I
oh
don't know if it's been approved in other states, but the state of California in 2020, it was right during the pandemic actually, and folks weren't paying much attention to it.
yeah,
They passed that the AB5. So basically, AB5 is that you have to be you have to be very sure of the classifications of your employees,
yeah,
and not everyone is now a 1099 employee
right,
contractor. In fact, I have had a number of clients that are now in the therapy business, and they're clinical therapists, and traditionally clinical therapists, they all contract. You might have a group, but they contract out because they are all individual businesses, right? They're
yeah,
all individual therapists, and then they may be contracted with this particular group and maybe this group over here, and they go on different days.
yeah,
Well, the AB5 says, and we'll do a workshop, we'll do a class and session on that. AB5 says if it's in the same industry, now there's some conflict there, and if they're coming to work for you and you have you are a therapy group, then even though they're individual therapists, they're now working. You guys have the same common business, so that means now you're an employee.
oh wow. So see, now that's going to impact your taxes, because your taxes is paid based on the number of employees you've got too, and
Hmm.
the revenue that you generate. So there's so many factors that's connecting in here.
Hmm. That, and as well, yeah, because let's say you're starting out as a new, which is how I found this out. You're starting out as a new group, new therapist, and you're like, okay, I want to be able to service more people. So therefore, I will, contract, and we'll all come together, and wow, we'll make this great, wonderful organization, right? Well,
Yeah,
you're brand new, so
yeah,
now you have to take on the additional cost of hiring in contractors, not just your staff, but
Yeah.
hiring in, and new organizations don't necessarily, they don't generally qualify for loans and things like
Right.
that because they're
Right.
brand new. They don't have any traction.
Right, right. I want to add one other situation in here that a lot of small businesses don't consider. Maybe they don't. Maybe some of them do, but most of them don't. And I see this happen over and over. And I'm sure, Crystal, you can relate to this, and others listening to this program or watching this program right now can relate to it.
Hmm.
Be careful when you, if someone owes you money and they haven't paid in a while, and then you decide to write it off on your taxes as a loss because this person owed you money. Let's say they owe you $5,000. They owe you
Hmm.
5,000. They haven't paid that debt, and
Hmm.
you try to collect over and over, and it's uncollectible. You can't obtain collections from it. So
Hmm.
then you sitting with your tax preparer, you tell them about that problem. They said, okay, let's write that off as a bad debt. But then after you write it off, one of these other little companies out there, collection companies, reach out to you and say, hey, I can help you to collect this debt. We will do this for you. So now you wrote it off, but now you're using a collection company to still go after whoever owes you money to collect the same money that which you wrote off. That's like that's double dipping. You see what?
Ah, okay.
So you can't do that. And I see a lot of banks do that, and nobody holds them accountable to it. But trust me, I do. I hold them accountable. So you want to pay attention to that, guys. If you're a small business owner, if you write off a debt, you cannot go back and try to collect the same debt again from somebody else, because you're telling, in essence, you're telling the IRS that this was a bad debt that I couldn't collect. So therefore, I'm trying to get some kind of waiver on this, and so my company could benefit for that. But then later on, now after you get the waiver, I'm gonna get this collection company to go after it. That's double dipping, and you can pay.
Yeah, because they've actually already compensated you for that
Yeah,
loss.
yeah,
Basically by writing it off. So
yeah,
it became a bad debt. So
yeah,
so now it looks like you're double dipping because if they write it off, they've given you the deduction as a
yes,
loss.
yeah,
Now, if it comes back, if you do go back and actually capture that, now you definitely you have to report that as income
right, right, right.
because it's now you've actually brought it in. So yeah, that kind of, so you have to be careful about those kind of things. Those are
Yeah.
the kind of things that get you audited, actually.
Exactly, exactly. So these are little things, guys, as entrepreneurs that you need to pay attention to. And some folks who are out there in the tax preparation business may not mention some of that. But the reason we're telling you this is because we walked down that lane, we walked down that street, we've experienced these things. So we're telling you from firsthand experience that be wary of these things, be on the lookout for it. You don't
You're
want
right.
it.
And
You don't.
I'm going to tell you from also from experience is make sure that whoever you're hiring, one, and this is kind of why I did this workshop is because you know taxes can be some of our businesses have complex taxes, and so yeah, it seems like it may be an easy thing for you to do, but there's a lot of nuances. So you want to make sure that you're hiring either an enrolled tax agent that has a PTIN number, and they are now required to do that because they're required to go in and get training. And
Say
so
that
you want
again, co-host. Let them hear that again. Say it.
yeah, so you want, and you don't just want any old Joe Blow doing your taxes. You want to make sure you verify their credentials. So today, tax preparers, if they're not CPAs or PAs, which is public accountants, then they need to be
And then
enrolled tax
agent.
agents, and that's with the IRS. And they had to go through some sort of training process. There's I think it's a 6 week training process so that they can then be they get a certification and they get a PTIN number, and that's required now on the tax return. So you want to make sure you verify their credentials. I think I saw something earlier today in a feed that came through that, make sure you know who's doing your taxes, because, there's been some changes. And I'm sorry, the IRS is not one of those individuals that when you go tell them, I didn't know, that
Yeah.
they take that as I don't know. They
And
don't.
make sure that this person, the reason you want to make sure they're an enrolled agent is because whatever information they put on your tax return and submit it to the IRS, they should be able to defend that information that they put on the tax return if the IRS decide to audit you and bring you in for an interview. You want that person should be willing, ready, and able to sit in that interview with you and defend, all of that information that they submit for you.
Yeah, exactly. So you want to make sure that and even when you have a CPA or even a bookkeeper, you want to make sure maybe you get a copy of their previous client list, get some referrals or get a referral, because not all of those individuals are created equal. Far as your CPA, you want to make sure that they understand your business
Mm-hmm.
and your taxes. So I usually, when I do a referral, I give my clients three choices, and then I ask them to, before tax season starts, I ask them to reach out to them, have a meeting with them, explain and tell them what your business is about, what your overall goals are for your business. If you're looking to expand your business or grow your business or hire employees, so they know exactly what your needs are, so that they are properly uh, preparing your taxes, so that when it comes time for growth, you don't hit some stumbling blocks.
That's right. That's correct.
And because I will tell you, if you tell a tax person when you sit down with them, hey, I don't want to pay taxes, so that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to create your tax return so you don't have to pay any taxes. And so if
Right.
that's the case, 2 years down the line, you come in and you're wanting to get a loan from a bank, and they're going to ask for 3 years of tax returns, and they're going to see that
You
you,
took a
you
loss the
you
last.
took a loss every year, and they're going to like, well, you've not made any money. And you're like, but I did make money. No, your taxes
It said here you took a loss.
don't reflect that. So we got to think long term, and we have to have always think with strategy. So because it
Yes.
will affect you down the line. So just something that I've learned from doing the work that I do and working with a number of lenders, what they're looking for, and it's too late if the last 3 years you've taken a loss, and it reflects that on your taxes, because that's what you told the tax person to do,
Mhm.
then that's what he did or she did. And so now there's no going back. Now you could actually always go back and amend it. But generally, in my experience, and Gilbert, you can correct me if I don't know about your experience, but most people are looking for money when they need it, not going for it when they don't need it.
That is so true, man. That is so true. So that's why you got to plan in advance. When you're doing the taxes, you're doing the write off. Before you do those things, sit with the tax preparer, talk to them, ask them questions. How will this impact me? How will this affect the business? How will that affect my revenue standing, my revenue position? One of the things that they should tell you, especially if you're a larger enough company with a CPA, they'll
Hmm.
tell you when it comes to obtaining loans or lines of credit, you taking a loss over the last 3 years is not going to work in your favor. Not
No,
a,
it's not. I'm not gonna lie, taking faith. And so, since we were talking about risk a little earlier, and we kind of jumped into the tax piece, but here's what we want to make sure when we talk about risk is making sure that your business is protected. And so there are some insurances that you need as a business owner, to make sure you're protecting, your personal assets, your property, and your business's assets as well. So these are the type of insurances. And even though we're talking about taxes, this is about the financial structuring of your business and making sure that you're operating in compliance.
But see, here's the thing to co-host. A lot of people say, well, I don't have a storefront. I operate from home. Yeah, you may operate from home, but if you're inviting people to come to your home to meet with you or talk about business, then that's an exposure. Because if you invite someone to your home and they slip and fall, they get damaged, or they get bitten by your dog, that's an exposure to liability right there. So that's where your general liability insurance kicks in. And the insurance company is going to ask a whole lot of questions before they even pay out on a claim like that. And then if the person decides to sue you, that's all a different ball game, because the insurance company, when you take out your general liability insurance, they have a ceiling. That's why they give you coverage, and the coverage has limitations. So if your insurance policy, the premium covers, if it's a $1 million coverage on a single occurrence and $2 million on aggregate occurrence, meaning multiple occurrence happening within the year, then that's all they'll pay. The $2 million, they're not going to pay anymore. So if the lawsuit is for $10 million and you lose that lawsuit, they'll pay $2 million. Or if it's a single occurrence, they'll pay $1 million. Then the other 9 you got to find somewhere and pay it yourself. So these are things, guys, that you want to look at. Co-host, you want to cover the product liability insurance?
Yeah, so product liability is if you guys have any type of product that you're manufacturing, wholesaling, or distributing, this is a product that you want to be able to insure, again, for exposure, because if there's bodily harm that is caused to any of your customers that purchase your product, they're going to sue you. My rule of thumb is I tell my clients, if you really need to know whether or not, if you have to question whether or not you have insurance, if you're working with children, you're working with pets, you're working with seniors, anybody human, if you're providing a product or service for anybody human, especially with those protected classes, children, pets, and seniors.
Elderly.
And elderly people. You want to make sure you protect yourself.
So here's another thing that I want to put out there. So all the entrepreneurs who are listening to us today and watching us also on YouTube, I want to put this out there. There's a lot of small businesses who do not just product. Well, I'm going to talk about 2 types of product. One is food industry. Many small businesses are in the food industry. They cook, they prepare meals. Either they bake or they cook something and they sell it. That's the product you're selling. And if someone purchases your product and they get sick, then they can easily sue you for food poisoning or something like that. Now, even though food poisoning is a little bit more difficult to prove in court, it doesn't mean that they won't sue you anyway. And if they have a strong attorney who knows the rules, that person can when they take you to court, they can ask for a lot of different things, and they can point to a lot of different weaknesses in your ability to protect and secure the product that you sell to or offer to the customer. So with that, it could lean the judgment in their favor against you, and you may lose. That's one. That's food. The second one is hair care products. A lot of small businesses, they do hair care. You got hair salon, you got massage, and they got the product to go with it and all of that. A lot of people end up getting damages from that because hair care product, they put in someone's hair and their hair start falling out, or you give them sell them lotion or something, they have an allergic reaction to that. That's another reason why you guys need product liability insurance. Most of entrepreneurs think, it's never going to happen to me. My product is safe. yeah, maybe your product is safe, but one person may just have that allergic reaction to your product. So keep that in mind.
Exactly. And today there's a big thing on that for people in the hair business that the product that perm that they do perms on has they're tying that into cancer
See?
for women, and so it's huge right now. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
if you are manufacturing any kind of product that may, long term, this obviously women have been using perms for a very, very long time,
Hmm.
and now, hundreds of years later, whenever the first product came out, now they're doing some testing and saying that it's potentially that could be the case. So you just want to protect yourself. You don't want to leave yourself open for exposure. So the property liability is making sure why take the chance, especially if you have a product and you've invested quite a bit of money in getting that product to marketplace. And that's not an easy task as a business owner.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you don't um, take a chance and leave yourself open for exposure there.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
And sometimes, co-host, even if you don't manufacture the product, but you're selling the product for the manufacturer, they can sue you as well because you're selling on behalf of the manufacturer. So that's just another way to look at this too. That hey, they may sue you, sue the manufacturer, and everyone affiliated with this product. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, so just be careful. So that's just it. So your property, your product liability, your professional liability is for those of us that do, like Gilbert and I do. We're providing services to customers, so it's not a
Yeah,
product; it's a service. So you
professional
want to
services.
a
Yeah.
personal services, and so you want to mitigate loss against malpractice or errors or negligence and things of that nature. Some professionals like real estate agents, CPAs, lawyers, they're required by law to have professional liability insurance as part of them maintaining their licenses. So there is no wiggle room there. But
If
some of us are out there calling ourselves coaches or life coaches or whatever you want to call yourself. Uh, know that you need to protect yourself.
just remember this, guys, because I see a lot of little sketchy people on TikToks and YouTube giving advice, and they don't understand the importance of disseminating advice to people, right? You may tell somebody something in your program or whatever, and they take your advice and they may derive harm from the advice they took from you. So that's another reason why you need professional liability, because if you provided erroneous information, and that's part of the professional liability, it covers errors and omission. So if you give
Hmm.
somebody bad advice and they take your bad advice and it caused them harm, that's another lawsuit that you can look at, and that's another level of exposure to risk that your company may experience. So keep that in mind, guys. Don't be quick to start giving people advice without checking it out. If you have advice to give, but you're not sure if the information is correct, just said, based on this article that I found on YouTube or Google, you know, these are some of the stats on that, right? That's what you want to say to protect yourself. Don't be talking about, oh well, this is surety that this thing works this way when you don't even know. You weren't even part of the research. So how do you know that that's correct? And how do you know how many subjects they ran the experiment on? You don't know that. So
Yeah, so you want to just protect yourself. It's so
yes,
very important to protect yourself. So get your and here's the thing: people always like, well, you got to pay for this, but these are all deductible items, and we're going to talk about this in a minute.
yes,
So these are things that you actually legitimately can write off on your taxes. So,
yes,
but it's at the same time, it can protect you, can save you money. You may be thinking you're saving money on the front end, but if something were to happen, then no, you're not saving money. I've heard some horror stories that people like, well, I'm never going to have any problems. Insurance companies just collect money, and then all of a sudden your building burned down, and you find out you have no insurance. Because
Right.
why? You
Right.
decided you were going to take a chance. So you never want to take a chance, and especially when we just talked about, you can have some external risk that has nothing to do with you, but something from the outside world. A wiring goes bad or something. You don't know that that's going to happen, but all of a sudden you
Yeah.
find that your building is burnt down, and now you don't have the money to replace the building or what have you, especially if you didn't own the building. So these are some of the insurances that you need to make sure. You should find a reputable insurance agent. Again, we talked about teams. Your tax person's a teammate. Your banker is a teammate, is on your team. Your insurance agent is a team member. These are people that help you stay in compliance to make sure you're protecting your business, the investment.
And an attorney as well.
An attorney. Those are the people that should be on your team because you never know when you have to pick up the phone. So these are um, um, four of the seven types of insurance. The next one, let me just get over here and switch it over
Well,
real
you
quick.
also have workers' comp, and then you also have the sexual harassment or directors and officers.
Right. Yeah, those all fall under there, especially if you're a nonprofit. Um, and you can get a bundle depending on where you are. And now many of us are working from home. We have remote businesses, so you
Yeah.
might want to make sure you add a home based business insurance onto your either your renter's insurance or your homeowner's insurance, so that you can protect your business equipment and liability.
And one thing I want to add to that with the the home-based business insurance, some
Mm.
people may think that, well, I'm not really seeing clients at my home. I'm just running the business from my home. But then you invite a friend over and you're giving your friend advice. So that's
Hmm.
under the auspices of business there, and your friend slip and fall down the stairs and break their leg, or the dog bites the friend.
Hmm.
The friend could turn around and sue you. So keep that in mind, guys. Not because they're your friend doesn't mean that they won't sue you. They definitely could.
Oh, they could, depending on what they consider a loss. Yeah. So yeah, they could. Those things happen. So you want to be sure that you protect yourself. And then the business owner's insurance is what Gilbert was just talking about: the errors, emissions, the director's insurance. If you're a
Director.
nonprofit, those are the types of insurances. So you want to look into them again. Making sure that you have a reputable source that you're utilizing in order to purchase these products. Again, these are people that are part of your team, your business team,
Yeah.
to keep
And
you in compliance.
you may very well, someone may very well hires you to perform a task, and you feel pretty strongly about the task that you're performing. Yes, I did a great job. And the person may go, no, you didn't do a good job. I'm not happy with this work. It's inadequate. It's
Right.
subpar. And then this decide to sue you. So that again, is where the errors and mission comes in, that
Yeah.
you really want to.
Exactly. So that's just a little piece, because business is, it requires a lot for us to invest in our business: time, energy, time away from your loved one, all of those sort of things so you want to protect that entity. You want to protect that business and make sure you have all of the right compliances in place so that you don't have to wish that you did after the catastrophe takes place. That's what I say. And it happens. All righty. So next one is the tax guide. So here's the thing, guys. It's inevitable. Death and taxes are the two things that we know that take place in life.
Gotta happen. Gotta happen.
matter whether you like it or not, they take place.
Right. That's right.
So, I'm sorry. From the tax guy, how did this move? So the taxes that we customarily pay or have to the taxes you will pay is your personal income taxes. Everybody knows what this is. If you've been working since you were 14 years old, your very first job, which was a shocker, you thought you were going to be making some money, and all of it came out in taxes, and you're like, wait, I got $5 left.
That's your W-2 right there.
Your W-2. So personal income taxes, and so these are what you as the individual will file a personal income tax. You do it annually, and you don't have a whole lot of. You got income, but your personal income taxes. You don't have a lot of expenses to deduct as an individual. It becomes more lucrative for you when you're a business, but generally it's pretty straightforward. If you're working for someone, they're already taking your income taxes out based upon what you told them your dependents were, and so now you're bringing home your net check from that. But if you're a business owner, you have actually some write-offs
And
and
then
some deductions.
also, if this is you working as a freelancer, sole proprietorship, independent contractor, all of that, you got to pay this tax quarterly. That's where the estimated taxes come in. So you got to make sure you pay quarterly. And I've missed out many times on paying quarterly. I just pay the annual thing, and
Uh-huh.
every time I do that, my tax preparer he admonished me. He said,
Yeah, because
"Pay quarterly."
technically, if you owe more than $1,000 at when you get your taxes filed, you as a independent contractor, freelancer, what have you, um, you are required to pay. You are required to set up your estimated taxes.
Yeah,
And the caveat to that is if you're paying more than $1,000 in tax on your tax return at the end of the year once they do it. So they want you to put in taxes. They want you to put it in a quarterly system. Just like you would be actually, I guess it's just like you would be doing if you were an employee,
yeah,
because the payroll taxes for employees are 6.2% of compensation up
yeah,
until 137,000. And this is both. This is your employer taxes for your federal, your state. If you're in a state that requires state taxes, there are some states that do not. Then you have your Social Security and Medicare, and that's part of your portion of your payroll taxes, and that's 6.2% compensation off of your annual. So that is for you if you're an employee and your employer matches that. Those of us that are self-employed, um, and you've set up your a legal structure, then you're paying your self-employment tax, which is that $800 that you pay. And everybody thinks that they're just giving that to the state of California. It's like, I'm not giving California my $800. Well, that's actually your self-employment tax. That's to make sure you're paying into the system. So when you get to that place where you're retiring, you have Social Security. Now, if you've already got your quarters in, when you work for corporate America, you get your 10 years in. That's a little different. But if not, if you've been an entrepreneur for your whole entire life, you're going to be in for quite a surprise when you turn 65.
and tell them again another reason why they're supposed to pay into that Social Security taxes, whether they're a W-2 employee or an entrepreneur. How many weeks they got to pay? You got to pay what,
It's
40?
40 weeks. Yeah, 10 years actually. It works out to about 10 years.
Okay.
Hmm.
So
Yes,
so keep that in mind, guys, and
that's
uh,
what qualifies you to receive Social Security when you turn 65 or 67. I think it's 67 now, but at that time. But you can apply for your Medicare at 65, and so that employee tax and the match that your employer was paying for you when you were an employee, that is the money that's being accumulated there for that to happen. And then if you're self-employed, then you're doing your self-employment tax, and that's what's making that available for you. Um, Here's something that I learned, and I just read this the other day. If you do not apply for Medicare when you turn 65, they penalize you an additional $20 a year. I guess it can actually go up. So they penalize you for not applying for it, and not
an extra $20 a year or a month.
A month in your premium.
Well, I think I register. I don't know if
So you might want to check into that, Gilbert. There was a new law that was that took place, I think, at the beginning of this year, and so the premium for Medicare was 174. It was 174. Then it went down to 164. Now it's back up at 174. And then if you didn't register at the time for it, then there's an additional $20. So just wanted to tell you that.
I know I registered in their system, and then they asked me for some documents, which I didn't give them yet.
Right. So you got until March 31st, because so right now we're in a enrollment period. It's a special enrollment period.
I got 2 days.
2 days. If not, you can't enroll until the end of the year. So just a little heads up for you, sir.
See, Fernando don't have to worry about that. He's a young whippersnapper, man. He's like 24, 25. He's got 40 years to go.
Right, exactly. So the self-employment tax is a self-imposed tax that small business owners must pay to the federal government to fund your Medicare and your Social Security, and it's very similar to your FICA taxes that is paid by your employer. So basically, you are your employer. So you want to so young people that are out there doing their hustle and not really working for anybody. Yeah, there may be a time when you may not be able to hustle it up, and then you might have a problem. So you might want to look into that and to get your insurance. But I will tell you, your Medicare is much cheaper than you're going out there paying it on your own. But the way the system works, it doesn't even matter if you have your own. If you're paying for your insurance, obviously you're paying more, but there's still a penalty because by law, I guess we're supposed to apply for Medicare at 65. And if you decline it, then when you do come back and want it, then there's a penalty for it.
Oh, Lord.
Just telling you. So, and I just read that the other day because one lady's like, wait a minute, when you turn 65, you almost get poor. What do you mean you add more money on to it? That's what this one lady said the other day. Like, well, yeah. Why am I being penalized? I'm already poor.
Oh, man.
But you don't have to take your Social Security. You can wait until you're 70 to do that if you don't want to. But if it's there, I've heard two sides to that story, right? The other one is, and this is for the city of Los Angeles. If you're in the city of Los Angeles, you are required to pay, and in business, the business tax registration, which is called the BTRC. And this is if you're an LLC to a 1099 within the city of Los Angeles, you must register for your business tax registration certificate. And it is an annual renewal due every February 28th. And Gilbert, tell them what happens if you don't get it in by the 28th.
If you don't get it in by the 28th, guys, the city will charge you a penalty. And I hear it was $300 because they jacked me $300, right? I hear it was 300, but now they increased it. So they will charge you guys, and whether you make less. So here's the deal: if you make less than if you generate revenues of less than $100,000, then you don't have to pay taxes, but you got to file. So if you don't file, that's where they jack you with that $300+ late fees. Now, if you make more than the 300 and you still didn't file, you still got to pay more penalties on that because you're supposed to pay. And if you operate in the city of Los Angeles, that means your business is located here in the city of Los Angeles, they jack you that way. What if you don't reside within the city of Los Angeles, but you conduct business in the city of Los Angeles? You still got to pay, and you still got to get that license. The good thing is the license is for free, so you don't have to worry about that. In comparison to other cities, they charge you for a business license, and you're paying like $400 or more. But the city is free, and you just got to make sure you meet that deadline, that February 28th deadline. So, this year their system was down because I filed mine on February 27th. And this year they extended it to February 29th because it's a leap year this year. But because their system was down, they said if you send them a screenshot of their website to show that it was down when you were trying to file, then they will do it for you and you won't have to pay a penalty. So that's what happened with me. When I go to file on the 27th, the system was down. So I did a screenshot, with all the messages and notification they put on there. There's like, our system is down right now, but if you send a copy of this to our office, we will file it for you. So that's what I did. Yeah, that's what I did. And then I think 2-3 weeks ago, they sent me a confirmation that they have filed my tax renewal for me.
Okay.
So keep that.
I wasn't taking any chances. I did mine January 15th.
Man, see, that's as a business owner, that's what you got to do. You got to limit your exposure to risk. Do like my co-host. You file it before it's due, like the month or two before it's due. Don't wait till the last moment like me.
Mine January 15th. I want no problem.
Man, I went on the 27th thinking I'm in there 2 days early. Woo! The system was down. Man. I'm going, what?
Oh, Lordy. That's hilarious. But yeah, so that's what I did. Don't get caught up in that. And also know that if you do business in like Culver City or some other places, they actually you have to register with them as well. And you have to report your income to them. I think Santa Monica may be that way as well. So you want to because these are city taxes. And so you want to make sure wherever you're doing business, you understand what their tax systems are so that you don't get caught behind the 8 ball on that.
That's right.
That's very, very important. So income taxes, you guys have been doing this forever. If you're under the age of 65, a minimum amount of your annual gross income must be, you have to report your income. There's some different things happening. I think on Social Security, you have to still file taxes, because I think there is, which is amazing to me. You have to pay taxes on your Social Security as well. So, but it's at a certain limit. So you do want to check with someone, an expert, your CPA, probably, to make sure you understand what that is. Usually, if you're making, you're not making a whole lot of money, you can do your own taxes, and most of the time, I remember back in the day when you were a kid and you did your taxes, right? You didn't, you always got money back. I can't remember that time. I mean, I break even, but but getting money back, what is that like?
Man, I don't believe in giving the man my money and then say, hold this for me for a whole year. and then give me back some of it with no interest. I said, no, that's not me. I'll wait until the end, and then I'll pay what I'm supposed to pay. That's it.
Yeah, right. Now these are these estimated taxes. So, if you expect to owe more than $1,000 or more in taxes at the end of the year, over and above that amount held from your wages or the monies you're making, your revenues, then you need to set up a form, your estimated tax form. You can have your CPA do this for you. You can have your enrolled tax agent do that for you. And then you have to file these taxes every quarter, so that you can make sure you're paying into the system. So, question, something to ask your tax person.
So if you think that you're gonna owe over $1,000, then you just make that estimated payment, right?
Yeah, you have to set up your tax form. So that you look at your taxes for the last couple of years, and there's a worksheet that you can go to the IRS.gov, and there's a worksheet that will help you determine what your estimated tax would be, or you can have the person that's filing your taxes help you with that form. But it's a 1040 ES, and
Yeah,
it's the estimated tax for individuals. So if you find yourself that's what's been happening, you do want to be in compliance. Okay.
yeah,
Alrighty. So, self-employment tax. We just talked about this. This is that tax. This is actually your FICA and FUTA, which is what you would have been paying if you were working for someone. So the total self-employment tax is 15.3% of your net earnings, and it consists of two parts. And the first part is your Social Security, 12.4%, and then the second portion of that is 2.9%, which is for your Medicare. Now, this is the thing that I always find interesting when in the political world, they're always saying, well, Social Security is going to run out and there's going to be no Social Security for you. And then I think, this is not an entitlement. You actually paid into the system. You take
exactly.
it out your check. What are you talking about? What are you talking
That's your money that you prepaid into the system,
about?
and now they're telling you it's gonna run out. It's like putting money in the bank, and then when you go to withdraw, I'm sorry, we ran out of money. We don't have any for you.
And my question has always been, they said, well, well, people weren't expected to live to 70, 80, 90 years old, so that's why it's going to run out. Well, okay, but however, people are still working. So
Yeah,
that means that money is being pulled out of people's checks
yeah,
and being placed into this pot somewhere, this checking account somewhere for Social Security, and it should be gaining interest. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. That's my accounting brain talking, but
yeah.
what do you mean it's gonna run out when I need it?
That's crazy. That's crazy because they're supposed to put that money in a lockbox system and let it, bear interest on it, and you should be getting the interest. But instead, what they do is they let you put that money in to the fund, and then they take the money out of the fund and spend it in some other ways. And then when it's your turn to receive your benefits, they say, "Oh, sorry, we ran out of funds." That
Right.
to me, that's
And,
criminal.
that's criminal. And in most cases, people are not. If you're still capable of working at 65, and the age has been moved up to 67, and your amount goes up, if you don't take it to your 70. So if I am not taking it, then what the heck are you talking about? It's not going to be, no, it's supposed to be sitting wherever you put it, where it's supposed to be earning interest. Now, you can take the interest and do whatever you want with it, but the actual part that came out of my check should still be there.
Give me my money.
Especially if you didn't work 20, 30, 40 years in a company, and every week they're taking your check out, they're
Yeah,
taking the Social Security and Medicare, your FUTA, your FICA, and your FUTA. What
yeah.
are you talking about? I have a problem with that. What are you talking about?
So this is very important, guys, for all of you to listen to. You know, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're an employee, you know, you need or an employer, you need to listen to these types of things because this is very valuable. No one tells you these things. They don't teach you these things in classes. So we're making an exception here, and we're on the business zone. We don't hold back. You know, there's no fugazi on the business zone.
No,
We
I
put
ask
it there.
questions. I don't understand what did all the employees stop working? Did they stop taking taxes out of your check? What are you talking about? It's gonna run out. How?
That's crazy, man. That is crazy. The biggest investor in the world trying to tell you they run out of your money.
Yeah, but it makes no rational sense if people are still working behind me when
Yeah.
I turn 65,
Mhm.
even if because somebody didn't use my money during that time, well, that 30, 40, 50 years before I got to 65,
So
and I've
you
been
were
working
paying
since
for
I
the
was
people. You're
16.
paying for the people before you. Now, when it's
Right.
your turn, the ones behind you, they're saying, "Well, they didn't
But
pay enough."
they don't, their money don't get applied to me. uh, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm not looking at that properly, but that seems like unless we are at zero employees and everybody is an entrepreneur not paying into the system, how do you run out? Just
And
inquiring minds
and
want to
and
know.
and, and even if we gave them the money should still be somewhere. Otherwise, that's mismanagement. That means they're mismanaging our money.
I, inquiring minds want to know. As they say, asking for a friend.
That is so crazy, man.
But your self-employment taxes for those of us that are self-employed, freelancers, independent contractors who actually work for themselves, you're not getting a paycheck. You're actually getting a check in exchange for your services that you're providing for them. And so
Look like you're frozen up there, co-host.
how computed at 15.3% in your Medicare, which is just exactly like you when you were employed, whenever that was, they did the same thing. Only you paid half, and the employer matched it. So they you took the 6%, and you took a 1% when you were an employee, and then the employer matched it, so it actually came out to the 15.3%. So you didn't get what, but not as you as the employer of yourself. Now they're taking the full amount, and there's no matches. But
See,
yeah, I haven't quite figured that out yet, Gilbert. When they keep when a politician keeps saying it's going to run out, how? How?
so
When
April
you
15th is a target date, huh?
April 15th. Now last year we had a little reprieval because there was all kinds of catastrophic stuff going on at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to file until October of last year. And then they even extended it another month last year. But however, this year they had extended it to June because it had started raining a lot and there was floods and all kinds of other things happening. But the date went right back. As soon as the sun came out, the date went back to April 15th. So
Oh,
don't be confused, people. It's April 15th.
and this is a list of some of the documents that they should have when they go to file their taxes, right? On the previous page, the previous slide.
Yes, those are some of the yeah. Well, these are the documents, your source documents.
Yeah, make sure you got your mortgage information, the mortgage expenses, the mortgage interest that you pay.
Your
Any
taxes,
any
government.
donations? Yes, any donations that you pay to not to charity organizations, you want to hold on to that and have proof. Medical expenses, health insurance, your income, you want to do that. Investments, any type of investments, if you're an entrepreneur, you want to include your traveling. You know, if you travel back and forth, like when I used to go to Vegas,
Yeah.
Crystal, I
Yeah,
used to
you
go to
can. Yeah,
Vegas
anything to do with your travel expenses,
yes.
you
So
can apply that.
I put my plane ticket expense, my hotel expense, rent a car expense, you know, all of those things in there because that was tied into the work that I did because I did training. I had to provide training to those entrepreneurs there in Vegas. So you want to hold on to that. You know, some people they hold on to their fuel expenses. You know what I do? I
Hmm.
admit I hold on to everything that I had to spend and anything that I generate within that year. And when I take it to my tax preparer, you know, he'll let me know, okay, we're going to exclude that or we'll keep this. Or because sometimes what they do is they bundle a lot of those expenses and just put $1 amount in there
Hmm.
instead of itemizing it. And
Hmm.
it's better that way, you know?
Yeah, sometimes they do. It just depends on, again, it's that conversation you have with the person that's preparing your taxes, their understanding of how you do business.
Right.
These are how these decisions are made. So further into this, there is a conversation. There is a um, um, there is an outline of what
So an outline of what you need to have ready and available for.
as a business owner. Am I
Right.
still my okay? There you go.
Yeah, you're frozen, but I can hear your voice. So go ahead.
Why do I keep losing my signal? Keep losing my signal. You see what's happening here. Um, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so keep saying I was losing the signal. But March 15th is the
Business.
filing deadline for partnerships and LLCs. So if that's you and S corps, you had to do your filings by March 15th. If you had not done that, I hope your tax person has filed an extension for you. April 15th, this is for your individual people, your sole proprietors. Uh, I'm sorry, your multi member LLCs would do on the 15th. Regular old LLCs, not single member LLCs, you get to file your filings as April 15th. Your estimated quarterly taxes due. Um, and then if you are a C Corp, your taxes are due, right? So that's the deadlines for that. May 15th to June 15th is your 1099s, I'm sorry, your quarterly taxes are due. And if you're a nonprofit organization, your taxes are now due on June 15th. And then there's extensions for September 15th and October 15th. If you extended your March 15th, then your taxes are due September 15th. If your taxes are due and you fit in that category, your Schedule Cs and your sole proprietors and single member LLCs, then if you extended your taxes, then they will be due on October 15th. It's just not an automatic. It doesn't happen automatically. You have to file the 4868 form for sole proprietors and S corp and Form 7004 for partnerships. But you don't have to remember all that if
So
you have a relationship.
so those are the extension forms, right? So for the
Yes,
sole prop, you do the 4868
68.
as
Uh
the
huh.
extension form, right?
Yes. Uh huh.
And then for the partnership, it's 77004.
Uh huh.
And you know what I noticed? I noticed my tax preparer when I did my extension, he did a form 7004 for that, and I wasn't a partnership.
You're not a partnership. Well,
Yeah.
that's kind of. Well,
So
he was supposed to be
they
doing
probably
a
don't
40.
know what they're doing then, huh?
Unless you.
The
Well,
the
what are
IRS
you, an S corp or are you a
sole prop.
sole prop?
Yeah. So the IRS
Yeah,
haven't
they shouldn't have done that for you. They should have done the
reached out to me and said
4868.
anything. Yeah. They haven't said anything to me about, hey, you filed the wrong form. You know, they haven't said anything. So
Well,
who knows? Maybe
so,
they're waiting, right?
all
And then
right,
with
exactly.
some penalties.
Some other important deadlines is your quarterly tax Q1s for your estimated tax and payroll taxes. So you got your Q1, Q2, which are quarterly, quarterly 3, quarterly 4. These are your taxes. If you really want to there is actually a calendar that the IRS makes available to you, and then you can mark it on your own personal calendar so you can stay on top of that. So those are where you can find those forms.
And
Uh,
if you have employees and you have to file your employee tax with the state of California, then you do the same thing Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So the first quarter's filing will be the end of March, right? And then the second quarter filing will be at the end of June.
mm-hmm.
Quarter, the end of September, and the fourth quarter will be the end of December. So keep that in mind, guys. Now you might be thinking, it doesn't apply to me, it doesn't matter. It does matter because if you did not file those and you have employees and you didn't file those forms with the state of California, their EDD department, Employment Development Department, then when you go to get certified as a small business, they're going to ask you for that. And if you don't have it, they'll reject your certification until you file those um, employee taxes with the state of California. So keep that in mind. That's
Yeah,
very
keep that in mind. So your and on your quarterly taxes for your payroll. So that last one in December, that one is actually for payroll taxes is not due until the January, whatever January 21st or the 15th. 15th is usually a holiday because
yeah,
that's usually King's birthday,
right.
Martin Luther King's birthday. So it's usually due on the 21st of the next year. So that's for the 15th. But quarterly estimates for corporations are due on December 15th. Okay? So
Wow.
just put these notes on your calendar somewhere, peoples. Um, so we're gonna run through this real quick. So we're into an hour here, but so here pretty much the tax deductions are the same. The deductions um, that you are allowed to deduct on your taxes are pretty much the same. Office equipment, home office, insurance, startup costs, travel, marketing, legal expenses, continuing education. A lot of people don't know that. Mileage deduction or either or auto repair, your retirement savings if you're saving for retirement, office supplies, loan interest, business travel, memberships, dues, and phone and internet expenses, and any of those mortgages and rent and things like that. The only thing different in a lot of these, and this is for sole prop, you do pay your self employment tax as a sole proprietor, and your business income flows through your personal tax return, and you pay taxes on the business income at your personal income tax rate. That's how that works.
Hmm.
Okay, that's
In-
as a sole prop.
Interesting.
Now, where it gets a little interesting is when there's a the partnership structure itself doesn't pay taxes. The income passes through to the business partners, and the partners' income is reported on their personal returns, and then the partners pay their self-employment taxes on their earnings. So each one of them are paying their self-employment tax. They're set. But the income is passing through to both of the partners, and then they're being reported on their personal tax return. Okay. Your limited partners pay self employment tax on guaranteed payments like your partnership uh, salary. So that is how that goes. All of your key tax deductions are the same as the pro tax, as the the sole prop. S corps are a little different, guys. So S corps don't pay federal income tax. Is on business income. Is limited by the total number of shareholders. That's the S corp basic understanding, and they can't exceed more than 100 shareholders. S corps have to have separate bank accounts, and they have to keep separate records as a requirement of being this form of business. S corps are subject to their 800 self-employment tax. S corps total income minus expenses and allowable deductions. So that's the way S corps are taxes are paid. Okay.
Right.
Then your C corp. I just want to get this out before we ended the show because we're already into an hour. C corp. C corps are taxed as separate entities. They're their own entities. The corporate owners pay taxes twice at the corporate level and at the individual level. So you do pay, the company pays, and then you pay on your individual personal level. You file 1120 tax form each year to report your income and claim your expenses and allowable deductions. C corps, total income minus expenses and allowable deductions. So remember that, guys. If you're a C corp, you are taxed as a separate entity, and the corporate owners pay taxes twice at the corporate level and at the individual level. So know that when you're applying for these legal structures. Okay.
Yep.
C corps, you're paying a flat rate as of 2018 of 21%, but you do have a number of city and state and local taxes. We kind of already talked about the business tax, sales tax if you're buying things. You just taxed and some more taxes. But those of you that live in Las Vegas, in Nevada, those of you that live in Texas and Florida, and I don't know where other places don't have taxes. You guys don't have state taxes, but the state of California, yes, you do. You have state taxes.
Florida, Texas, Nevada, well, Delaware.
Oh yeah, Delaware.
States.
Yeah, so those are the people that don't pay taxes. Now, I would be remiss, if I don't tell you that you need to have an accounting system to keep up with all of this lovely stuff. Because if you don't, then you're doing some manual stuff, or
Yeah.
you're taking tax receipts to your tax person, and your tax person is looking at you like you done lost your ever loving mind, and now they're going to start costing you a whole lot of money. That's what's going to happen to you. It's going to cost you a whole lot of money.
So have you used Sage? Have you ever used that platform?
Sage, actually, I used it a long time ago. Sage used to be Peachtree.
Mm-hmm.
And now Sage is it's a company comparable to QuickBooks, but I think QuickBooks is still rated higher than Sage.
Mm-hmm.
Wave is actually free.
Yeah.
That's the free account. If you don't have, and you can use Wave if you don't have any income, if you don't have any inventory. It's no reason not to. You can use it. It's the same kind of product. It's just QuickBooks has some other features that depending on the industry that you're in, that's more suitable for that. But Sage is comparable to QuickBooks. Xero actually is a product that was designed specifically for the benefit of the cannabis industry, because QuickBooks is not cannabis is not federally regulated,
Yeah.
so they don't do business with companies that do cannabis or sell cannabis or any part of the cannabis industry. So Xero is that platform. FreshBooks is just really just for invoicing, and you need more than that to run a business. It's great, but it's more than that.
Right.
So I'm gonna just do this one before. I'm not gonna do the whole thing. I just want to cover these basics for you for taxing for your taxes. You definitely want to open a separate bank account, especially if you're a corporation, an S corp. You should have a separate bank account from your personal. You should not be commingling. You need to track your income and your expenses. You need to develop a bookkeeping system. You This is all part of the basics for small business, building business credit, determining how you'll get paid, making sure you understand the sales tax processes, determining what your obligations are. And if you have employees and you're in the state of California, you have employees, not everybody's a tax independent contractor. So then you would have to set up payroll taxes. And so those are pretty much the basics, Gilbert, because we're going on into a 2 hour period. So we're going to come back next week and I'm going to give you, because we still got another week before taxes are done. And then I'm going to give you the 5 reasons, the 5 mistakes that businesses make when it comes to taxes. And you want to make sure that you're not making those mistakes. So that's pretty much it for us today.
Is ready. Hope our audience is ready for that.
Yeah, because there's some big ones. But again, I'm going to tell you, unless you have very simplistic taxes,
Yes.
it is a real good idea that you don't do your own taxes. But
Mhm.
if it's some complexity to your taxes, then you should have someone doing them. It works out much better for you because you don't want to be audited. And I hear that the IRS is in audit mode right now.
Ooh, trying to get back their PPP money.
Right, exactly. So you want to make sure you're not one of those that they're going to audit. So that's pretty much it for getting ready for taxes for
I think
today.
I think this was very comprehensive, Cole. It's very good, very informative, good
You're welcome.
information. Show that you've done your research on this. It's very nice.
Yes, it's research and experience.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's what it is.
that's
But
right.
we want to thank you guys. Wishing you all a happy Easter. And a good Easter weekend. I hear tomorrow is going to rain. In fact, I think it's going to rain starting tonight.
Oh wow.
So stay dry out there.
Yes.
I want to send our condolences to Lou Gossip. He passed away yesterday.
Who? Who?
Lou Gossip, the actor.
Oh really? He was
Hmm.
what, like 80 something, 89?
Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah.
Oh man, he's been a shining light in the movie industry, in the community. You know,
Yeah.
a mentor, everything.
Yeah. So he's gone. Yeah, he lived a long, good life.
Yes, yes, yes. And
Yeah. So I just want
everybody
to.
remembers him in an officer and a gentleman.
I know, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
He was a good actor. He's an amazing actor. So rest in peace, my brother.
yes.
Condolences, prayers, and condolences for his family and loved ones.
And for those of you who are listening, again, this is the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. We're on every Friday from 3 to 4:30. Today we went a little over because we're providing you amazing information in terms of taxes, liabilities, exposure to liability, and all of that. As entrepreneurs, guys, you always want to be ready. You always want to be armed with information. The information we provided today was really vital to the survival and the success of your business. So we're hoping that you did pay attention to some of what we're saying, if not all, and share the information with your colleagues or other entrepreneurs, your family members, whomever. Just remember that you can obtain copies of this information by going to YouTube and subscribe. You don't have to pay any money. It's free subscription. You just click that subscription button, and when you do that, click the subscription button. Then whenever we have our show, then we notify you. And since co-host and I, we're going to do a part 2 to this next week. then you guys want to make sure you subscribe and be ready. So when we're getting ready to advertise the show, it notifies you and lets you know that we're going to do it and you are ready to go. So with that being said, co-host, do you have any parting words for our audience?
No, just have a very safe, dry weekend if you're in the state of in Los Angeles. If not, enjoy your Easter weekend with your family. Hello, Greg. Happy Easter.
I see our field correspondents just joined us.
I know. Happy Good Friday. He probably was over at church today because this is Good Friday. There's a whole bunch of stuff happens. The 7 last words, all that sort of stuff happens.
You know, ever since I come to this country, I'm so confused with Easter and all of that, man. Because see, in Jamaica, you know exactly when it's Good Friday. You know when it's Ash Wednesday. You know when it's Easter Sunday. Here, it's all mixed up and discombobulated. You don't know when it's Good Friday. No. Man, this is crazy.
It moves from March to April regularly. In between those 2 months, Gilbert. Between those 2 months.
See, in Jamaica, you know when it's Easter because people get in the Easter mood. You know, the food and everything, the festivities. So you know when it's Good Friday. Well, on Good Friday, nobody works on Good Friday. On Good Friday, everybody stays home. They either go to church and they just cook a big meal. Mm-hmm. Greg said he just left church.
Yeah, he just left church. 7 last words always takes place on Friday in the AME church anyway.
Jamaican Easter is always running late.
Running late.
Oh man,
whether it's in March or it's going to be in April, the second week of the month is Palm Sunday, Palm Week.
Oh,
and then the next week after that is Easter, whether that's in March or whether that's in April. Although this is the end of the month, so yeah, it did do something weird. You're right, Gilbert. It did something weird.
I'm saying it's messed up. See, in Jamaica, you know when it's Good Friday, you know when it's Easter Sunday, you know when it's Easter, and we celebrate Monday too. We celebrate Easter Monday.
I didn't know what's Easter Monday.
Yes, Easter Monday, man. That's like a celebration day. That's when people celebrate. We throw parties, have meals, like not like a cookout, kind of like a Thanksgiving. Everybody come together and eat food, and there were concerts sometimes. Yeah, man, it's it puts you in the mood. You understand?
Oh, okay, get you in the mood for you.
Yeah. But here's like you don't even know what's gonna happen. This is the first time I came here, and it was Good Friday. I said, "Oh, good, I'm off. I'm staying home." Employer said, "You're coming in."
Oh yeah, no, you don't get no time off for Good Friday. That's not a legal holiday, dude. That is if you have personal time, you can take that time off to go to church. But no, they ain't giving you Good Friday off. They're giving you unless you're at a Catholic church.
See, that's why I believe that Caribbean countries are more religious, man, because they stick to the script. They make sure if it's Easter. You got the Passover, you got the Good Friday, you got Ash Wednesday, you got all of those things, and you know when it is. But here you can't tell because you got to work.
Right, you got to work. Yeah. Well, we're gonna shut down now, so we don't have to pay for another hour on this platform. But we're happy Easter. Greg said Island time. But this is how you guys subscribe to us. Come back next week. Actually, I think we have a guest next week, but I have to check and see. But anyway, you guys will get the notification.
I think we have Rakaya.
Yeah, next week we have a guest. So we look forward to you guys. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next Friday, the same time, same bat channel.
And we're out.
And we are out.
As a small biz pro, so we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an